It looks like we're on. It's 11:40 p.m. now. So, hello guys, MN502 here, and I'm back with another Let's Play video. And today I'll be playing some Edhead games, or simply known as Edheads. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. First, we'll start with Crash Scene.
It looks like our fellow.
All right. Now I've heard this song before on Transformers Comic Creator. Now, if you're wondering what the song is called, leave a comment down below if you know what the song is called. Okay, so there are 5 parts to Edhead's Crash Scene. So basically, hold on, you got collecting the evidence, interviewing witness, calculations and forces, drawing conclusions, and what if. Sorry. Now then. Sorry. Now then, basically, you are at a crash scene, and you're here to, well, basically, it's part of work. It's part of schoolwork. So, yeah, what am I even saying? Let's just start with collecting the evidence. But first, I gotta go use the can. Oops. So I'm back. I had to go use the can, but let's begin. Let's start.
Hello, I'm
Part
Sergeant Peters, and this is
Part
Trooper
one:
Douglas.
collecting the
Welcome to the
evidence.
Crash Scene Reconstruction Unit of the Highway Patrol.
Nice to
Trooper
meet you,
Douglas will show you
officers.
what to do and how to handle your first crash reconstruction.
This is a pretty bad crash. There are multiple injuries and fatalities. Let's find out what's going on and then get started. The first priority is to save lives, if possible. The second priority is to gather all necessary crash-related data, as we might not be able to collect it later. Since we don't necessarily know what we need, we will be very thorough and collect it all now.
We have 3 fatalities already determined. 2 males and 1 female declared dead. 2
Ouch.
other males are being taken to the hospital, and the female was removed by life flight, but I understand she was pronounced dead at the hospital. The 3
Ouch.
bodies will be taken to the morgue for examination. Is there other information you need from me?
I'll get the rest from the other officers. Thanks.
You know, there are at least 3 families, possibly more, that are really going to be hurting tonight.
And I
I
feel
wish
bad for
people would
them.
realize that they aren't immortal
But
before
thankfully,
they
it's
prove
just a
that they
game
aren't.
in
I
Flashpoint.
agree. Too many people die for no real reason. I've determined that the blue Chevy Cavalier was traveling north on County Road 27, and the green Oldsmobile Alero was traveling west on Gary Road. The first thing we need to do is start to gather physical evidence, carefully and accurately. Anything we do could ultimately end up being defended in court, so you owe it to yourself, the patrol, and to the people who died here today to get it right. There is a lot of data that will be gathered here today by many different officers. I've already coordinated with the rest of the troopers here and know what data you will gather with my help. We'll start with the assessment of the vehicles involved. When looking over the cars, there is a check sheet we typically use. From this point forward, we will refer to the blue Chevy Cavalier as Unit Number 1 and the green Oldsmobile Alero as Unit Number 2. That will remain the same for the duration of the case. Complete the damaged areas on car section based on your observation of this unit. Make sure you pay attention to the details. Click the unit you'd like to report on first.
Okay, so there's Unit 1 and Unit 2. Let's start with Unit 1. Okay, so the front looks badly damaged. I mean, the headlight is completely smashed. That one's damaged is mildly damaged. So here's the left. The door is open, but the side right here looks damaged. The rear, okay, the rear is a little bit totaled. The bumper is dangling. And you can see that the roof has been torn off so that the EMTs can get to the passengers. The right? Oh yeah, the right looks pretty much totaled. Okay. And the top? Yep, the top has been torn off so that they can rescue the people inside the car. And here's Unit 2, the green car. Again, oh boy. The front of the green car looks pretty much damaged beyond repair. I mean, it's really pretty much 100% totaled. Both headlights are smashed. Let's go to the left. Okay, the left side is pretty intact. The door is open and there's a seatbelt sticking out. The rear, the rear is intact also. And the right, man, the right is pretty banged up. The fender is dented. The doors are dented. The gas cap, what's the gas cap doing open? Okay, the top. Okay, a little bit of the top. Okay, a little bit of the top is damaged. The rear seems to be intact, but the front is totaled. Yep, I'm talking totaled. But now I know how Danny Carbuncle feels when his dad got totaled. If you hadn't watched the movie Cargo, The City on Four Wheels by The Asylum, you should really watch it. I highly recommend it. But anyways, let's continue.
Now we need to take a look at the evidence on the road and see what it tells us. Recording and measuring evidence like skids, scrapes, and debris will help us form a more complete picture of what happened, and will hopefully help us figure out what caused this crash. Logically, what's the best way to proceed with this investigation?
Well,
that's correct. We will start working our way backwards from the car's final resting place to the point where we think impact occurred. We will measure almost everything we see and record all information in our crash report. Whatever we don't measure will be measured by another patrol officer. I strongly encourage you to make your own sketch of the scene using the crash scene diagram template found in your crash report printout on page 4. This will help you get a better idea of how and where the accident happened.
All right. Since I don't have any paper with me, let's just continue
Start by tracing
on.
back Unit 1, the blue Chevy. Click all the skids and scrapes associated with this unit, starting at the car and going back to what you believe might be the point of impact.
All right, so Unit 1, that's the blue car, and Unit 2 is the green car. So these skid marks are from the blue car, Unit 1, and these skid marks are from the green car, Unit 2, and there are some body bags on the side.
Since Highway Patrol will be recording a lot of measurements, all the evidence will be labeled with letters to keep everything straight. For now, we will just label the evidence that we're dealing with. Another trooper is measuring the skids for Unit 1. Now that we've decided which evidence belongs to which car, we'll begin by labeling Unit 2. Unit 2 was pulled back so emergency personnel could get to the people in Unit 1. However, we can still tell the location where Unit 2 came to rest, as it was still connected to Unit 1 when the car stopped moving. On the crash scene diagram page of your printout, label the front tires of Unit 2 G for the left front and H for the right front. Following the skid marks in the grass, determine where the front right tire, H, left the road. Label this location J. Using your measurement tool, measure and record the distance between H and J, remembering to follow the curve of the skid mark.
Okay, so This reminds me of one time. Yeah, one time me, my father, and my brother were coming. I'm actually me, my father, and my nephew were on our way home from my grandmother's house, and then these two cars collided into each other. I mean, I have seen car crashes in movies and in every 15 minutes videos, but I've never actually seen one in real life before until now. So, anyways, here's okay, you got 24 feet and 10 feet, I believe. So, let's continue.
What was the distance between H and J? Write it down.
22 feet, of course. Okay, then.
Following the skid marks in the grass, determine where the front left tire, G, left the road. This location will be labeled F. Now measure and record the distance between G and F.
Okay. 27 feet to 22 feet.
Good work. Now we'll follow and measure the two skid marks from the front tires of Unit 2 back up onto the road. Before we do that, it is fairly clear that the back tires of Unit 2 did not leave skid marks on the road. Why do you think that is the case?
Mm.
You are jumping to conclusions. Try again. You are jumping. Good observation. Following the skid mark from label J, determine where the front right
Okay,
tire
wait.
skid mark begins.
Why am I even
The
guessing
starting
anyway?
location will be
I
labeled
shouldn't even.
I.
I should
What
be
is the
reading it
distance
carefully
between
instead of
J and
guessing and picking
I?
silly
Record the
answers.
measurement.
J and I. 55 to 55 feet.
Next, follow the skid mark from label F and determine where the front left tire skid mark begins. This starting location will be labeled E. Measure and write down the distance between F and E.
Okay.
Okay, there's another scrape in the road closer to the intersection, which we will label C. Looking at the relative position of the physical evidence, which car do you think made this scrape?
I think it was Unit 2.
Right. This scrape is outside or farther south of the skid made by the right front tire of Unit 1, so could not have come from that car. Another trooper has measured this scrape. Given that Unit 1 was heading north and that Unit 2 was heading west, it is most likely that crash occurred at or near the intersection. Look for fresh gouges in the road or skid marks. Do you see something that looks like the possible point of impact? Click on that point.
Okay.
Great. The debris of what looks like headlights supports your conclusion. We will label this
Headlights
A
and
on the
marker
diagram.
lights.
Now, do you see other evidence near the impact point that might be important? If
Mm,
so, click on it. Look closer and near the point of impact.
sorry.
Good observation. We will label the small skid mark B. Having seen the location and relative positions of the cars after the accident, what do you think this small mark might be?
Okay. The skid is from Unit 1 putting on its brakes.
Take another look at where this is in relation to the point of impact.
Mm,
You may also need to look at how the cars impacted again. Take another look at. Great. I can tell you are really thinking about this. If we think we've covered the evidence thoroughly, let's go interview our witnesses.
all right.
Looks like our fellow
Part 2
officers have
interviews.
determined that there were two witnesses to the crash. Since one driver has already been declared dead at the scene and the other driver is already at the hospital, we will only interview these two. Assuming the driver of Unit 2 recovers sufficiently, another officer will interview him later, and we'll get the results and our crash report. Here's our first witness. I'm
Okay.
expecting you to take notes using the interview section of your printout.
All
I'll
right.
ask the questions. You take notes on all the pertinent information on pages 5 and 6 of the crash report.
Sure thing.
Remember, we need to get the important information now, not later.
Now, not later. I got it.
Mr. Seymour, thanks for staying here so we could talk to you. Where were you when the accident occurred?
Alright, where were you?
I was traveling south on 27. I was not yet to the end of that fence there.
Okay.
Uh-huh. What did you see? I saw the blue car at the stop sign. It started forward, and the next thing I saw was the green car hit the blue car. It was horrible, and both cars started skidding sideways.
Ouch.
How fast would you say the green car was going? It looked like a normal speed. What happened after the impact? I drove as quickly as I could to the place the cars ended up. The two people in the green car got out, but they were in pretty bad shape. One fell down almost immediately. I think the driver. The other was leaning against the car. I smelled smoke, so I tried to get the driver of the blue car out. I couldn't get the seatbelt undone, so I cut it with my knife. I pulled him out, but he didn't have a pulse. I was getting afraid the fire might cause an explosion, so I felt for a pulse on the second guy in the car. There wasn't one. So I tried to get to the girl. She had a little bit of a pulse, but I couldn't get her out. I just couldn't get her out. It seemed like forever, but I guess it was probably only a few minutes before the first highway patrol car showed up. He sprayed foam around and put out the fire, and then he called in the life flight helicopter and the EMTs, who started tearing the car up to get to the girl.
Okay, let's continue.
Was there any other traffic on the road that you saw? No, but honestly, I was so shocked. I wasn't paying too much attention after the accident. There could have been cars on 27. I'm not sure I would have noticed.
Okay, continue.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. We appreciate your help. Can you give us contact information if we have further questions for you later? Yeah, sure. While I get his contact information, you decide which questions below are important to ask Mrs. Harless. Remember,
Harmless.
you don't want to waste time on insignificant details.
I'm just
You
listening
do
to a
want to
body
get
cam
all the
video.
information pertinent to this scene.
Alright, click the questions below you'd like to ask. Alright, Mrs. Harless, where were you when the accident occurred?
I was going north on County Road 27 and saw a blue car stopped at the stop sign. I guess I was about 100 feet or so behind it.
What did you see?
I was slowing down for the stop sign, and the blue car was pulling forward. I didn't see the green car coming, but all of a sudden it slammed into the blue car and started pushing it sideways. There was a horrible noise at impact, and then a screeching noise as the cars moved down Gary Road together.
Okay, were there any obstructions on the road?
Not before the accident, no. Well, not that I saw.
Alright, ma'am, stay strong. Was there anything that prevented you from seeing the green car?
There were all these plants to the right of my car. The plants are kind of high. That's probably what prevented me from seeing the green car.
Okay. What speed do you think the green car was going?
Well, I didn't really see it before it hit the blue car, so I can't really say.
Okay, what happened after the crash?
I was so shocked. It was just horrible. But I thought it important to help those poor people. I didn't really feel there was much I could do to save them. But I called 911 on my cell phone and drove around the corner to see what I could do. There was another man there trying to get the passengers out of the blue car. He looked as shocked as I felt, and I could tell by looking at him that the passengers were in pretty bad shape. It was only a few minutes before the first highway patrol cars came, but I tell you, I'll have nightmares about this for a long time.
Thank you, Mrs. Harless. Please write down
Thank you,
contact
ma'am.
information. Good job, rookie. We're finished collecting the evidence we were assigned. We'll start our reconstruction back at the Highway Patrol Office.
Alright, let's just stop right here. And go play a surgery game. Also, let's let you know, this game may contain graphic contents. Well, this is an Edheads game. It's a virtual surgery game, so yeah. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, I hear you are the new surgical resident. I'm glad you chose vascular surgery, that is, surgery on arteries and veins, for this rotation. Let's jump right in. I'm Dr. Amanda Dixon, and today we are most
Nice
likely
to meet
performing
you,
an aortic aneurysm surgery on a gentleman that we will meet in a minute.
Dr. Amanda
One of the things we
Dixon.
have to do is determine if he needs the surgery. Specifically, we will be determining if our patient needs abdominal aortic repair. Let's do a quick review to make sure you are up to speed, and then we'll look at his test results. The aorta is the largest artery in the body and carries blood from the left ventricle. Remember, the left ventricle is the primary pumping chamber of the heart, forcing blood into the aorta and then to the rest of the body. There are 4 distinct sections of the aorta. The ascending aorta, coming up out of the left
The
ventricle.
ascending
The
aorta.
aortic arch, going above the heart and supplying blood to the arms and brain. The thoracic aorta, passing through the chest cavity. And finally, the abdominal aorta, which carries blood to many organs in the abdomen, into the pelvic region and the lower body. Our patient today has an aneurysm in the abdominal portion of
An
the aorta.
aneurysm.
An
Ouch.
aneurysm is a widening and weakening of the arterial wall. This is a high-pressure system, with the powerful left ventricle forcing a lot of blood through this section of the aorta. Normally, the aorta has strong walls that can withstand the pressure. But in some patients, that wall weakens, causing the aorta to swell or balloon out. Obviously,
Balloon
this is
out.
a serious condition, because if the aortic wall bursts, all of the blood will come rushing out, causing the patient to bleed out internally. Our patient today is a 65-year-old man. 80% or more of aneurysm patients are male. We're not quite sure why that is. Maybe this is something you can figure out as you move forward in your medical career. Our patient is also a smoker and has had a heart attack. This is common in the patients we see. Smoking increases the risk of a heart attack and increases the risk of an aortic aneurysm. Look at these images. The first is an abdominal ultrasound ordered by our patient's family doctor, who recommended Mr. Bishop for a vascular surgery consultation with me. It shows the aorta to be dilated. Here's a CT scan of a different patient, and this one has ruptured a very large aneurysm. So you can see a healthy aorta, one with an aneurysm, and this one that has ruptured. This second image is a CT scan or CAT scan that I requested, which shows the relationship of the AAA, medical shorthand for abdominal aortic aneurysm, to the other blood vessels and organs. One of the things we have to determine is if this patient even needs surgery. If the aneurysm is less than 4 centimeters in diameter, then we typically recommend the patient be checked again in several years. If the aneurysm is 4 to 5 centimeters in diameter, then you need to assess the patient's health and risk factors to determine the best course of action. However, if the aneurysm is larger than 5.5 centimeters, surgery is definitely recommended due to the increased risk for rupture at the larger size. Measure the diameter of the aneurysm. Now, do you think we should continue with surgery?
5 centimeters? Surgery is a go.
I agree. With an aneurysm that large, surgery is definitely recommended. I'll go schedule the OR and talk to the patient's cardiologist. You go down this hall to the locker rooms, get dressed and scrubbed in, and I'll meet you in the OR. I see you found everything okay in the locker rooms. I've already had the patient checked by his cardiologist, who determined that he is a good candidate for this surgery. So we are in good shape in terms of his heart. So we are almost ready to get started. There are 2 routes we can go with this surgery. We can do an open procedure, where we cut into the abdomen and repair the artery that way, or we can do a minimally invasive procedure, where a stent graft, also known as an endograft, is inserted through the femoral artery, through the iliac artery, and into the abdominal aorta, with the assistance of X-ray equipment. Given Mr. Bishop's general health, relatively young age, and his personal choices, we've decided we will do the open procedure. This is Mr. Bishop. We want to get him healthy and happy
Bishop.
so he can go sailing with his granddaughters. He's told me all about his sailing jaunts with Savannah, Presley, and Paige. And this seems like a good reason to me to want to stay healthy as long as possible. I'm going to go finish getting ready for the surgery while the surgical team finishes the final steps of patient preparation. Okay, I've checked and the prepping and draping is complete. I've also checked with the anesthesiologist, and Mr. Bishop is anesthetized and his vital signs are good. Antibiotics have been given, and there are blood products available in case there is a lot of bleeding. So our first step is to make an incision down the center of the abdomen, from just below the sternum, or breastbone, to just below the navel.
Incision time.
Use the Bovie pencil to cauterize the areas of the incision that are bleeding significantly. Next, we'll use the scalpel to cut through the abdominal wall at the midline. Be certain you stay in the exact center of the abdomen to avoid cutting through muscle. Why don't we just cut through the abdominal muscles from side to side instead of up and down? Click on the scalpel and make the incision.
Incision confirmed.
Good. Now we are into the abdominal cavity. First, you see a fatty layer, which is the omentum, and hangs over the transverse colon. Insert the retractor to move the transverse colon toward. Very quickly, we see the small intestine. The stomach is in the upper abdomen, and we want to make sure the anesthesiologist has inserted a nasogastric tube so that the stomach stays drained during the surgery. It also helps to prevent the patient from vomiting after surgery because the bowels typically go to sleep for a few days after surgery. Next, we retract the small intestine to the patient's right or our left.
This.
Use a scalpel to cut the tissue overlying the aneurysm. And place our abdominal ring retractor around the aneurysm to give us a clear surgical field.
All right.
Okay, the aneurysm is obvious at this point, and the retractor is holding all the organs out of the way so we don't damage them. Mr. Bishop needs to have heparin, a blood thinner, so that he doesn't develop blood clots in the arteries above or below the clamps during the surgery. I let the anesthesiologist know to do this a few minutes ago, so we are now ready to place the clamps. We will clamp the blood flow to the legs first. Place a clamp on both of the iliac arteries.
Okay.
Why do you think we clamp the iliac arteries first? Now, clamp the aorta just above the aneurysm, but be careful to place the clamp below the renal arteries.
Okay.
Why do we clamp the aorta below the renal arteries? We've isolated the aneurysm and no blood is flowing through the section of the aorta we will be operating on. Next, take the scalpel and make an incision along the length of the aneurysm.
All right.
Good. Make 2 smaller incisions at the top and bottom of the aneurysm. Be careful not to cut all the way around the aorta. We only want to cut small incisions at top and bottom.
Oh, sure thing. There we go.
We can't really see what we're doing, so take some saline and use it to rinse the area. Now use the suction tip attached to the cell saver to remove the liquid. The cell saver collects and cleans the blood removed during surgery so that it can be returned to the patient.
All right.
Now we can see clearly inside the aorta, and it looks like Mr. Bishop does have atherosclerosis, a hardening of the arteries. That occurs when cholesterol, fat, and other substances form plaques inside the arteries. If this were a healthy artery, the inside would be smooth. Then again, if this were a healthy artery, we wouldn't be here today. What we want to do next is take a polyester fabric graft and put it inside of this area of the aorta. The graft will allow the blood to flow through it instead of the damaged aorta. The graft is a tube knitted from synthetic fabric and is designed to withstand the normal pressures of the aorta. It's also easy to suture into the blood vessel, which is good news for us today. We are going to suture the graft into the top and bottom of our surgical area. We will use permanent suture material here. Why would we use permanent suture here instead of dissolvable suture?
Wait, our patient thinks railroad track scars look manly? Uh,
Suture in the top of the graft using small, neat stitches.
okay. Okay, it's a little bit laggy. There we go.
Suture in the bottom of the graft.
Alright. And there it goes lagging again.
This looks like good suturing to me.
Yeah.
But here's the real test. Remove the clamps above and below the aneurysm, and let's see if there's any bleeding around or in between the sutures.
Alright. Like each clamp to remove. Here we go.
So let's take a look.
Yeah.
Oh, he's bleeding out! He's bleeding out! Okay, just kidding. We like to joke around here with the new residents. You should
Don't
have seen
scare
your
me like that,
face.
dudette.
I thought you were bleeding out. You got so pale. Good job so far. Now we need to suture close the aorta around the graft. Why would we close the aorta around the graft instead of just cutting away the diseased parts of the artery? Go ahead and suture the vertical incision on the aorta, again making lots of small, neat sutures as you go.
Okay. Stitching can commence.
We are almost done here. Our patient is on his way to a healthier future sailing with his granddaughters. We need to remove the retractors and put the organs we retracted back in place.
Removing the retractors now. Ew.
Now we need to suture the abdominal wall back together. Again, we will be using permanent suture here. Why? Suture the abdominal wall together.
Again. Stitching, 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 stitching the artery.
Next, staple the skin together. We'll remove these staples 1 to 2 weeks from now, when Mr. Bishop is healing nicely.
So, staple, 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 stapling, stapling, staple, 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 staple it shut.
Why do we use staples instead of suture for the skin?
Again, railroad track scars are much more manly, really more like trailmon track scars. Because trailmon tracks have one rail. Uh,
We need to clean the area one more time with this sterile solution.
sterile solution.
Now, please add a sterile dressing over the staples to give one more layer of protection. Okay, now our OR nurses and anesthesiologists will take Mr. Bishop to post-op recovery and keep an eye on him for a few hours. Hopefully, we can remove the breathing tube soon after surgery. Then he'll be moved to an intensive care room, and we'll keep him here for several days for observation.
Ouch.
Thanks for your help in performing abdominal aortic aneurysm surgery. I think you did a great job, and I hope you will continue in the vascular surgery field. Every year, more than 15,000 people die from ruptured aortic aneurysms, and more than
Youch.
200,000 people are diagnosed with the disease. So you can see that this would be a good career to
R.I.P.
pursue.
those who
You'd
suffered.
have a lot of job security. But beyond that, it is very interesting and rewarding to be able to save lives by fixing problems like these. Oh, and if you ever figure out why more men than women have aortic aneurysms, I'd love to know why.
The end. And that's the end. Wait. No, I don't want to do this. Okay, I think we'll do one more Edheads game. And it's called, Simple Machines. But stupid mouse. The house or the tool shed? The house.
Hiya, welcome to my garage. I
Hey.
just bought the car, so try not to get any scratches on it, alright? Have a
Uh-huh.
look around and try to find and identify all 10 simple machines. Start.
Let's start. Okay. This looks like a flag. What does a flagpole let you do? Raise and lower a flag. It uses a pulley. And what does a handle do? Hmm, okay, it's a lever. It does that. And what do these wheels allow the car to do? Drive and roll around? What type of simple machine are these? Wheel and axle. The axle helps the wheel to move. Okay. That's a saw. What can you do with a saw? Cut through wood. It's a wedge, I think. Use it to cut through things. Oh, a brush. That or broom. What is a broom used for? Sweeping floors. Uh, oh, it's a lever. And it's a light. How do you change a light bulb? No, don't smash it with a hammer. Cram into a light. Uh, Twist into a light socket. You screw it in. How does the gate move? Okay, it's a lever. Okay, the
Hey,
bed
what's
moves
up?
next.
This is my bedroom. First off, just ignore the sock monster under the bed. Then have a look around and try and identify all 10 simple machines.
Oh,
Start.
that's cool. That's spooky. Roller skates. What do inline skates allow us to do? Roll around on hard surfaces. Wheel and axle, just like on a car. Hitting baseballs. Leverage. Okay. Uh, Roll around. Wheel and axle. Hmm, dang it. Scissors. They're used to cut things. You use it for the lights. It's a lever too. Clocks are used for telling time and gears. The clocks have gears inside so that they can tell time. What are pins used for? Holding up papers and posters. I, uh oh, I didn't.
R-matey. R-matey. R-matey.
What does a ship, what does the front of the ship do? Help the, help the ship slide through the water. It's a wedge too. Uh, Cover. Put my name in. Thanks for playing. Well, that was quick. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed me playing these Edheads games. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and stay mighty. See you next time.